Hey, welcome to the Course Building Secrets podcast. I am thrilled that you're here. Hey, today I want to talk about the infinite scale methodology that we use at TLS Learning. And so, one of the things that's really critical about looking at your ability to scale your one-on-one, your service-based business, or even your one-to-many virtual model is that you're looking at how do you start buying back your time? How do you start building something that allows you to leverage the technology, to leverage customer experience, to leverage what you have as your intellectual property so that you can create a strong foundational curriculum and then deliver it in an infinite amount of ways to an infinite amount of people. What tends to happen is when we're working in a one-on-one model or a service-based model is that we max out, right? We can only handle a certain number of customers at a time before things start kind of breaking, right? Or our time gets maxed out. And the challenge with that is that you can only grow to a certain point. And then if you want to grow over and beyond that, you've got to make some significant changes. Traditionally, and like when I first started and went through this path, is that I thought the only way to scale was to get a large office and have a lot of employees, and honestly to spend more and more time working because I wanted to make a bigger impact. I wanted to help more people, and so I thought the only way to do that was to work harder and work longer, and then eventually get people who could also work longer and harder so that we could create something. Well, the challenge with that becomes that the growth is not, you're not growing exponentially with your expenses and all of the different things. And so profitability actually goes down when you start adding all that complexity. So there is actually a different approach to growing and scaling that actually allows you to buy your time back. And that's what we're focused on in Infinite Scale Method, is how do you position yourself to be able to help more people make a bigger impact and not have it take up any more of your time, not have it take up any more of your profit, and not get you to that point of just being completely overwhelmed and burned out. And so it's so fun to be able to help people, from my perspective, to go from that place. Like, again, that's where I was 6-7 years ago, is just like I was just maxed out. I didn't know what to do to move myself into more of that financial freedom, that time freedom, where I could buy my time back and actually control what I did in a day, right? Like I wasn't at the whim of the clients that I had. And so I love helping people get to that same place, to get in the game, to start shifting their mentality, shifting their skills, and shifting their business so that they can start infinitely scaling. What happens is that allows you to be able to make decisions based on a completely different criteria than just trying to get through the day, just trying to figure out how to help more people and not have all the balls drop on the ground every single day as you're trying to grow. And so in this episode, I just wanted to cover a couple of the key transitions that need to happen in order for you to start getting in the infinite scale game. So the first one is really looking at what you're doing from a service perspective. And what you want to start trying to do is productize your service. The best way to productize your service is to consider what you're doing and how you're helping your customers. What is sort of that standard or consistent way in which you're helping your people get a result? Like, how are you solving their problem? How are you helping them when you when you're given the project or you're given the opportunity to work with people? What does that look like? What are the steps that you take to get somebody from point A to point B? What are the things that you're consistently doing? One of the challenges that I get from people when I ask that question is, well, all of my clients are different. All the problems I'm solving with them are different. And so there's not like one approach that I can take to solve my clients' problems. And that's when we have to rewind and decide who is it that you would like to work with, and then match that with a methodology, kind of your signature framework that you can help them, right? So if you look at who you want to work with, what problem do they have? Like, what's that urgent problem? What's keeping them up at night? And what's the solution that you can give to them? And then develop that signature framework that is just yours, right? So your unique way of getting them from problem to solution, that's going to end up being your signature methodology. So if you don't have one way that you're helping your customers, or you have, all your customers want something a little bit different, I want to challenge you to spend the time trying to figure out how you can sort of, productize that a little bit, right? Like, how can you make it a little bit more standard? Sometimes it's looking at who your favorite customer is and like what's the standard approach that you would use to get them from point A to point B. Other times you may have to start over. Like for me, when I was at the agency, one of the challenges I had was I worked with large companies, which is great. We had a standard methodology in which we used to help our customers. But as I was trying to productize that, I was like, well, are these the customers that I feel like I can serve in the best way, right? Like, can I get them the best results that, that I can for my skill set, and results that light me up when I'm trying to help people? And I had to ask myself that hard question. And the answer was no. I wasn't working with the right avatar. And so that's when I needed to shift and really look at like, what's the biggest impact I can make? What's the biggest problem that I can solve for the people that I wanted to work with? And what does that look like? So that's the very first thing, is to, see if you can figure out what your signature methodology is. Once you've done that, then you're on the road to be able to decide how you can start getting in the game of an infinite scale. So I challenge you, if you're not there yet, spend a little bit of time before the next episode, because I'm going to reveal the next thing in the next episode. But before the next episode, like, spend some time really thinking about that. Are you able to come up with, say, 7 to 9 steps for how you help somebody solve a particular problem and get to that actual result, right? Like, what is the path that they're taking? What are the steps that you're giving them to go from point A to point B? Define that. I will tell you, if you're in a service-based business and you don't have this defined for your service-based business, it will be a complete game changer for you to own your methodology when you do go out and do a proposal, or you have a sales conversation with a customer. Is that if you are able to say, and this is how we get you to a result, that is a game-changing activity, because instead of the customer asking you to do activities, you're guiding them down the road that they need to follow to get to the result that they're looking for. It will completely change your business just to do that, even if you're still doing one-on-one or project-based work. And so I challenge you to do that this week. So take some time, re-listen to this, and really figure out what that signature framework looks like for you, and see if you can put it into a number of steps that provide a cadence for somebody to go from the problem to the solution. So there you go. I challenge you to do that this week. And then next week, I'm going to reveal the next sort of step in the process once you've done that allows you to deliver that signature framework in an infinite amount of ways so that you can diversify what you're doing and start to buy back your time. All right, there you go. Go ahead and do that activity.